Boxing Dream Dinner is next.
And welcome to Boxing During Dinner, episode 18 from Pole Dance, Miami.
Put your hands up.
We're not in Alex's
apartment. Yeah.
apartment.
Oh, you mean the studio?
18.
We're not in the studio.
In the studio,
yeah.
or set.
Yeah. We're here live from Pole Dance, Miami. And as you can see, we've got some beautiful things happening here.
Yeah, and a lot to talk about. We have Alan Hopper from Don King Productions a little later.
Yeah.
But first, let's talk about what we're eating today. We're eating Quiznos.
Yep.
It's a well-known chain.
I love it. It's my absolute favorite subs. They're not
very good
sponsors,
sub.
so let's not kiss their butt too much. I ate most of my sub already before the show started. But
Yeah, he always eats boxing before dinner.
Boxing before
but
dinner.
what is sponsored is these cool shirts.
Check
As you
them
can
out.
see.
I'm gonna stand.
FancyHud.com. Once again,
This one is Boris Becker. It's got swag written across the bottom. I like this one.
for the youngsters who don't know Boris Becker, he's one of the greatest tennis players of all time.
Ever.
And he lives in Miami. He's at all the Heat games, so you've seen him before.
Oh, yeah.
And in case you're wondering, in case you haven't been paying attention to us yet,
Because
you're
you hear
looking
anything we've said yet,
at
actually.
this young lady behind us.
Yeah.
We're at Pole Dance Miami, and this is the co-owner of Pole Dance Miami, Yusi. So welcome to Boxing During Dinner.
Hi guys.
Thanks for having us here.
Well, thank you. Thank you
Well,
for.
talk a little more about Pole Dance Miami, because some people obviously have they see a pole, they hear Chris Rock saying, "Dad, you got to keep your daughters off the pole," but this isn't that type of pole. This is for exercise, and
Yes.
I'm amazed at what you girls do.
I love
on these
exercise.
poles.
I love it very much.
I'm eating too. Huh?
So talk about this exercise, because it seems you girls are beasts when it comes to this. This is awesome.
Thank you. Well, a lot of women kind of say, well, I need to lose weight to pole dance, but they're absolutely wrong. First, pole dancing helps them lose weight. Women lose inches at first. They do gain muscle, and basically pole dancing really helps women with their self-esteem. That's really like the main point here. And after it starts helping them with their self-esteem, they keep coming to a bunch of other classes, which then goes into making them feel sexy. They want to lose more weight, so they watch what they eat. I mean, it's an ongoing experience, pole dancing.
And it seems like it's a good thing. And on the screen right now, you're gonna see the information of Pole Dance Miami, the code, which is valid till midnight. And what does that code do?
Well, that code is PDM box. P as in pole, D as in dance, M as in Miami, and box. It gives them 15% off any membership. No polls, no workshops. Until midnight tonight, 15% off.
And for new students.
Yes, absolutely, new students. So old students,
That's
no.
an awesome deal. As if being at Pole Dance Miami wasn't good enough, now you guys get an awesome deal. And Boxing During Dinner is a big part of this too. We're the only two guys who are actually allowed in here.
I know,
Yes,
right?
no men.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we're really
well,
lucky
and our
here.
cameraman, unless you're calling Alex not a guy. But we'll leave UC here as we talk about the big fight this weekend, the fight that everybody's talking about. Joseph Agbeko and Abner Mares. Mares is the new champion, but there was controversy.
Yeah, well, anybody who watched it, I mean, I followed a lot of it on Twitter too as I was watching the fight, and people were just completely outraged. It was Al Bernstein who probably overstated the amount. But
Yeah, he said it was like 28, which it wasn't 28.
But the amount
it was
of
like 8 or 9.
Low blows is the story in this fight, and there were probably 10 plus legit low blows in this fight that went unnoticed at all, it seems, by referee Russell Moore.
And you know what? Joseph Agbeko's a tough guy. But, I mean, if you're a guy watching Boxing During Dinner out there, David, you know that getting hit in the nuts, especially repeatedly,
Yeah.
will severely harm you. It's going to take a lot out of you. I'm surprised if Joseph Agbeko could have kids in the future.
Well, that's
Abner
that's a
Mares
great
hit him
question.
low
I'm
so
sure
much.
everybody's wondering about the status of his balls right now, but that was a little bit of humor in there. But the fact of the matter is, Russell Mora did not only dismiss a few calls. It was a complete outrage, the fact that he reffed a fight in this way. It's as if he wasn't even there. He put a fighter in danger. He gave, and it also overshadows a good performance by Abner Mares, who put on a good performance.
Right. I think he probably deserved to win the fight, but would he have won if he hadn't hit him that low, and if it would have been called a knockdown? And let me tell you this about Russell Mora real quick before we go to our guest. Russell Mora, when Nonito Donaire fought Fernando Montiel, he dropped Montiel. Montiel was having convulsions on the floor. I don't know if you guys remember this, but
referee.
they should have stopped it right away. He let Montiel get up, take a few more shots. Nonito Donaire today said that Russell Mora is a horrible, horrible referee, and he won that fight. To talk about the Agbeko Mares fight, on the line, a very special guest, Alan Hopper from Don King Productions, and he was there, watching the fight, representing Don King Productions.
A lot of you probably saw Alan Hopper at the fight. You would have recognized him.
Alan, welcome to Boxing During Dinner.
It's great to be on with you guys, David and Armando. Thank you.
Alan, what are your thoughts? I mean, it's pretty obvious what your thoughts are. I mean, I've gotten your emails. I saw you during the fight. I mean, and just discussed with Russell Mora's performance refereeing that fight. Explain in your own words.
When in the first round or two, I was sitting right at ringside in the first row, and I noticed that Joseph was getting hit low, and the referee was admonishing Joseph, and was not admonishing Abner Mares at all. And you can watch the replay on Showtime if you're watching Tuesday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Showtime Extreme. And
Watch it.
And you can see it yourself, but Mares was putting his head in Agbeko's chest and then kind of bull rushing him a little bit. And then the official says, when Agbeko was pushing his head down while he was doing that, he splits him up and says, hey, don't be pushing on his head. And it was inexplicable. And it got worse and worse and worse. and I feel awful for that man.
Yeah, and your heart breaks for Joseph Agbeko because he comes in the champion in the fight. He fights his butt off. You know, it's a very close fight that would have been decided by the points that weren't deducted. And Alan, I mean, you must have been livid when Russell Mora calls a blatant low blow a knockdown.
Yeah. And that was right in front of me. and I see him point Mares to the neutral corner, like, get out of the way, I've got to check on this man. This is so brutal that I have to check on him and let him relax for a recover for the fight. You get up to 5 minutes to recover from a low blow. And I have never been more stunned in my life when he turned around and picked up the count at 4 and started counting this man. Yeah. As though he could lose, as though that were a knockdown. And you can't be awarded a knockdown if you hit somebody in the knee. That's a low blow. If you hit him in the foot, if you hit him in the groin, there's certain things you can't miss. I mean, if he had an eye test and he was legally blind, that would be the only excuse.
Well, perhaps that is. The interesting thing to me is, and you made this point, is that not only did he miss a few things at the beginning, but it only got worse as the fight went on. That to me is probably the biggest story here. Is
what? Something you haven't heard from anybody and nobody's written this yet. Do you want to know what the most amazing thing in that fight was?
Let's hear it.
Joseph Agbeko never retaliated.
Yep. Exactly. The entire fight I was thinking Joseph should go low. But something you mentioned a second ago, Alan, was that the low blow that was called a knockdown happened in front of you. Now the worst part about that it also happened in front of Russell Mora. He was in perfect position to see it go low.
Yeah. And he was in perfect position. And it just shows the sportsmanship of Joseph Agbeko. Yep. He doesn't look like that. And he really appreciated the fact that when he got injured and the fight was postponed on April 23rd at the Nokia Theater in Los Angeles, he really appreciated Mares and his team, the Golden Boys, for waiting for him. So there was a lot of tremendous sportsmanship, and it was just destroyed by a rogue official.
Right. Alan, we've got a question for you now that I'm sure a lot of people are asking, and that is about the, a lot of people talk about protesting decisions, and sometimes it's not with merit, but with the IBF, this is absolutely, arguably, the most protestable decision. Is protestable a word? Yeah, we'll find out.
Now it is.
It's now a word.
Now it is.
We're putting it in the vernacular. But tell us about that.
The protest has been filed, and I expect an immediate response directing an immediate rematch. I mean, the IBF, like everybody that watched it on TV and everybody that wasn't with the Nevada State Athletic Commission, can agree that something really terrible happened. Mm-hmm. What would be nice is if the Nevada State Athletic Commission stepped up and took further action to show that they are not as blind as the referee they sent to the ring that evening.
And it would set a precedent that, unfortunately, the sport of boxing is lacking, that they really do discipline, and I mean, there's judges who make egregious decisions, but a referee is in a different situation where they can actually put a fighter in serious harm's way, and I think that's something that, could have happened with Agbeko, and thankfully it didn't.
And I always say follow the money, so at the post-fight press conference, I made the point, Nevada is a unique jurisdiction in that it's the only state in the union where you can legally wager on fights.
Yeah.
And the Nevada State Athletic Commission has an additional charge for it to accomplish, and that is a fair, level playing field.
Right.
Not just for people watching on TV, not just for the participants, but for all the people who come to Nevada to gamble. And if they don't have fair games, they're not going to succeed forever in gaming.
And apparently in Russell Moro's world, it's the only place that you're allowed to hit your opponent in the balls and get away with it.
Yeah, Andrew Galata would still be heavyweight champion if that was Russell Moro's ref.
But last question for you, Alan. Don King, obviously he told me he wasn't there. He was at home resting. And what did he think of all this?
Well, his back went out, and anybody that's ever had one of those backs that slips out from time to time, during fight week, his back slipped out. He didn't want to ride 6 hours on a plane. I understand there's not much left of the sofa that he was watching the fight on.
Ripping out the cushions, that sounds like him.
Yeah, the pillows are ragged, but he was dismayed, as was everybody else. And this went beyond mere incompetence. This is a different level. I don't know if we found the word for what this was. And
Jim Gray may have.
There who missed this, make sure you tune in to Showtime to see the replay.
Yeah, definitely tune in and watch it. But Alan, thanks a lot for taking some time off to be with us here on Boxing During Dinner.
Appreciate it.
And as promised before we spoke to you on the show, as David said, we'll buy you dinner next time.
Yeah, we'll send you a public sub in the mail. It just might not be good by the time it gets there.
Yeah, and I want to be a part of this dinner. I want to be there and I want to eat with you guys.
You got it.
All right, thanks a lot,
And
Alan.
it'll be on us, Alan. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you. So interesting stuff from Alan Hopper. And you know what, David? Alan Hopper to me is one of the nicest people in boxing.
Yeah.
We had Harold Letterman last week, one of the nicest people in boxing,
Yeah.
and Alan Hopper this week.
We got some good friends of the show. We're lucky to have them.
Great friends of the show. But David, we were at some interesting fights on Friday at the Hard Rock here in South Florida. Ed Paredes probably looked the best I've ever seen him.
Yeah, I'll agree. We had an opportunity to sit right there ringside, and Harold Letterman had said in the episode in the middle of the week that he thought, with a win here and maybe after the Zavik fight, that he could maybe fight Andre Berto. And after the way, that Paredes performed on Friday, it wouldn't surprise me. A disciplined body puncher, incredibly sharp body puncher, a disciplined fighter. He's patient. Does he have that killer instinct? Well, we'll see. But I think Ed Paredes has all of the tools in his box, and
Yes, he
this
does.
guy's could be the limit for him.
Absolutely.
And we also saw a Cuban heavyweight. Tell us about Luis Cruz. Ortiz. I always call him Cruz.
That's not the first time he called him
Yeah.
Cruz. But Luis Ortiz, he's not a bad fighter because he throws a lot of punches. That's what I like about him. But he did get dropped by Aaron Lyons, who's a journeyman.
Yeah.
It was a pretty tough fight for Luis Ortiz. Is he ready for the Klitschko's? I don't think so, but with time, I guess he may get a title shot. But who is ready for the Klitschko's in this day of the heavyweights?
Klitschko's and everybody else.
But another good fighter, Buitrago from Nicaragua, came
Yeah.
in here undefeated. But he had a pretty tough fighter in front of him.
Yeah, he did. It was this guy that was supposed to be a soft hitter, but they traded shot for for several rounds until it finally did come to an end. But Buitrago, is not gonna be confused with Ricardo Mayorga, but the guy's got fire. Not the same personality, but he's a power hitter for a small guy. And
Right.
anybody watching those 100-pound early 100-pound divisions,
105.
105. It's about your weight, right?
No.
They're going to get a real kick out of watching that division.
Yeah, we eat a lot to be at 105.
Yeah.
This is Boxing During Dinner. I'm not eating healthy.
Yeah, nobody's fighting.
And,
at 105.
and also the Gamboa dynasty continues. Joe Elvis Gamboa, he looked good. Maybe not at his brother's level at this
but
point in
who
their
is?
careers. But who is? Joe Elvis Gamboa, he's a really good fighter, trained by his dad.
140 pounder.
And I expect big things from him. And speaking of Cuban fighters and controversy, we started with the Agbeko fight.
Yeah.
Later this week, Erislan Di Lara, we caught up with him at the fight. He talked about, obviously, the Paul Williams fight, which was a horrible decision.
We're starting with controversy and ending with it.
I heard a rumor that Russell Moro was dressed up as one of the judges that night.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
But you know what? Thanks for all your comments. A lot of you have been writing to us on YouTube
Yeah.
and on Facebook, and we
We'll talk
appreciate
to every
that.
single one of you.
And we
really
met
will.
Daniel Placides, who's one of our fans.
We love that guy.
Daniel, we love you, bro. Very good guy. He came up to us, said what's up, and then he tweeted that he met us, and said we're cool guys.
Yeah.
We're just regular
Cool guys,
But,
yeah.
but thanks for thinking we're cool, though.
Definitely. And I have
But-
something else to tell you guys. The website, which I promised. All right, look, it's not ready. It's
I'll punch you in the nuts.
Okay, but it's almost there. We have a template up, and we've got all the Boxing During Dinner logos. We're finalizing the details. It is going to look nice. It already does look nice.
Yes.
And hopefully by the end of the week, we'll be able to host some of the videos that we're talking about. It'll be right there on the website.
And look for us on Twitter at Box During Dinner, on Facebook, facebook.com/Boxing During Dinner. And next week we're gonna have a very good guest, or maybe two.
Yeah.
Who knows?
But we don't want to make those promises because we want to keep you on the edge of your seat.
Exactly. So we'll see you next week on Boxing During Dinner.